This video is meant to get you prepared for the insight review before you invest in the medicinal plant business. Through doing this, we will have a better understanding of the current conditions of the supply chain and all the stakeholders involved in the medicinal plant management business. India is home to some of the very old systems of medicine that continue to be the mainstay of healthcare delivery to a very large segment of its population, even today. Over 3/4 of world population relies on herbal plants and products for healthcare, as they symbolize safety in contrast to synthetics. It is a matter of pride that these Indian systems of medicine are finding increasing acceptance in other countries too. These systems being largely dependent upon plants, assured supply of quality herbal raw drugs is crucial for growth of the sector. Nearly 1,200 medicinal plant species in commercial use by the domestic herbal industry, traditional medical practitioners, and the export houses. Supply chains of each of these species is required to be understood to develop assured supply lines. In India, more than 10,000 registered herbal industries and a multitude cottage-level herbal units depends upon continuous supply of medicinal plants for manufacturing herbal medical formulation. Further growth of the sector is, however, critically dependent upon the sustained supplies of medicinal plant species required by the sector. With cultivation limited to only a few medicinal plant species, wild collections remain the major supply source of herbal raw drugs, putting acute pressure on the wild medicinal plant resources. Many of the medicinal species have already been assessed as of conservation concern. In fact, the major wild resource of medicinal plant required for herbal industry is facing shortage due to non-availability of genuine plants, due various problems like overexploitation, deforestation, loss of habitat, extinction of rare plants, indiscriminate harvesting impairing the availability of raw drugs. The demand of medicinal plant is ever increasing, but fails to meet supply with authentic drug, giving rise to adulteration and irrational substitution, affecting efficacy and safety of herbal medicines. There are two well-identified sources of supply of medicinal plants. First, material collected from the wild, and the second, quantity of material available with cultivators. The trade of medicinal herbs, like any other natural product, suffers from market flaws. Such flaws are apparent on supply and demand side, also on the difficulties in marginal pricing system for such products. Factors contributing to such market flaws are likewise unique characters of utilities of medicinal plants and uncertainty of their availability. Knowledge about medicinal plants being restricted to a limited people, lack of organized market, interplay of middlemen in the trade, and uncertainty in marginal cost pricing of the medicinal herbs. That is, absence of a mechanism for determining the share of the primary collectors in the final revenue obtained from the finished products. There are different players in market. Let us understand their role. Collectors who works on cultivated, wasteland or wild sources. Collectors are usually tribals and the rural poor, who are most dependent on the forests for their basic needs like fuel and fodder. Most often, those who go into the forests for fuel, wood and fodder collection also collect seasonal medicinal herbs except for a few species. Collection from wild or wild crafting is a labor-intensive activity, often involving entire families. In case of hilly states, women largely involved in collection of leaves, fruits and flowers, whereas men generally collect roots, bark and the species that are difficult to collect, like in some high-altitude species. However, in case of tribal pockets, like Bastar in Chhattisgarh, Chhindwara in Madhya Pradesh and Gard Korili in Maharashtra, the collection and sale of medicinal plants and its parts are only source of cash income. Apart from such tribal pockets, This activity provides supplementary incomes to the families involved, and are not generally a full-time economic activity. The rates paid to the collectors of herbs are extremely low, often just a fraction of the price paid by the final consumer. On an average, the share of the collectors in the final price paid by the consumer ranges between 10 and 58%. For most species, the share of the collectors is lower than 33%. Next, middlemen or agents or traders. The second in the supply chain after the collectors are the local agents or traders who buy the raw material from a number of collectors in the village and often operate in a group of villages. Different kinds of procurement and payment arrangements are evident at this level. The agents, referred to as stockists, operate from major or medium markets or mandis in the state and are the proverbial big player in the supply chain. They are well organized, and it is at this level that the trade takes on truly commercial shape. The agents are aware of the rates across the different states and mandis, as well as in the final markets. This is a specialized business, although even at this level medicinal plants might be just one of the commodities that they deal in. The agents at the state level is often in touch with his counterpart in the major markets, like Delhi, and may specialize in supply of a certain set of medicinal plants. The secrecy regarding the prices, quantities traded, profits made and the quality of material supplied makes the market impenetrable from this level onwards. Information is shared only with those who are considered as insiders in the trade. The local agent or trader sells all the available medicinal plant raw material to the stockist at a specified rate, depending on the market. The local agents then brokers a deal with his counterpart in the major market for which he charges a commission. He receives the full payment once the raw material is sold to the commission agent in Delhi. None of the transaction is carried out with written contracts. Everything is informal, on mutual trust. The stockists generally have storage facilities to store the raw material, which they procure in bulk, and keep brokering the deals throughout the year, as and when they get good prices. Next, commission agents. Commission agents are located in the major markets and buy the raw material from the agents who are located in the medium or state-level markets. They are extremely well organized and often have their own storage facilities, which is an indicator of how lucrative the trade is. They supply the raw materials to traders who are located in Delhi, Punjab, Kolkata and Mumbai markets who are wholesale dealers. Next, wholesale traders. Wholesale traders are located at the final major markets in the big cities like the 4 metros of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai, and make the final purchases before supplying to the manufacturers and retailers in the cities and other sub-traders. In fact, they are often the initiators of the business, in the sense that their placing the orders with the commission agents results in a backward chain of reactions, reaching up to the collector level. Next, exporters. Often wholesale dealers and commission agents are also exporters. At times even some exporters who deal in other items export medicinal plants or products on demand basis. Next, manufacturers. The manufacturers are classified into small, medium and large industries, apart from thousands of cottage-level production units. The practitioners and the general public are the consumers of the finished product brought out by the manufacturers. Now let us understand the payment mechanism and business awareness in the market. Information of the price flow between the different players in the supply chain is linear with no direct contacts between the collectors or growers and final consumers. Apart from a few species, like Aloe barbadensis and Tinospora cordifolia, which are generally used fresh, all other species reach the final consumer through one or more middlemen. The collectors are usually unaware about the prevailing market prices means other than what is offered by the local agent, the final destination of the material, the final value of the material, or the form that the medicinal plant takes. In other words, they are unaware of the wealth in monetary terms that is stored in medicinal plants. Each level of middleman holds on to its privileged information and operates on a secretive and suspicious mode. They are not formally organized, and personal profit is the sole motivating force. As a rule, there is no awareness or concern whatsoever about the issues related to the medicinal plants, conservation, sustainable use, etc., though most of them agree that it is becoming more difficult to find medicinal plants in the wild. Stakeholders accepted that demand, and hence prices for many species, have seen a phenomenal increase in the last decade. Value addition done by cleaning and grading. Cleaning and grading are simple measures that can be easily undertaken at the level of the collectors, which would enhance the price as well as quality of the raw material. There is tremendous scope for negotiating a higher price if the raw material is cleaned and graded the produce on the market demand, which varies from species to species. Cleaning involves washing and drying, or simply removing mud and other impurities depending on the part extracted. Collectors do not carry out even these simple steps because they are unaware of the possibilities of negotiating higher prices after cleaning and grading. They often have absolutely no idea about the actual value of the raw drug. Grading involves separating the different quality classes. It is noticed that grading greatly enhanced the price received. For instance, the price of Sofed muesli, or Chlorophytum boryvillianum roots, ranges from 200 rupees per to 1,800 rupees per. Difference is due to the fact that there are varying qualities of Sofed muesli available in the market, and the rate depends on the grade of the raw drug. Broadly, 3 grades of muesli are available. For example, 3 or 4 inch long roots, called body, bigger, muesli, that get the highest price, 3 inch and smaller roots called chuti, or smaller, muesli, that get intermediate price. Broken fragments or chura, that get the lowest price, if the harvested material is sold as it is, with all the grades mixed together, the collectors get a much lower return. This is what actually happens in practice. One of the major difficulties faced after harvesting the medicinal plant part is to protect it from fungal infection during the process of cleaning, grading and drying before sale. Role of drying and packaging. Drying is the most commonly important processing technique adopted by the collector. Majority of the collectors drying the collected materials in shade, which is most effective and for getting the remunerative price from the market, as well as cost-effective, were plant material chopped into small pieces and placed onto permeable material that allows airflow from all directions and dried away from air pollution and dust. Moving forward, and let us have an overview of supply chain and role of different stakeholders in this industry. Referring report of Agricultural Financial Corporation Limited. In India there are 6 argo-climatic zones. Here we will discuss only about Western Zone, which covers states like Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. As per the sample survey in this zone there are 2,495 stakeholders actively engaged in supply chain. The main center in the Western Zone is Mumbai. It has the largest number of exporters of medicinal plants, as well as the maximum value of imports as compared to the other markets. The majority of the raw material is collected in the mega biodiversity hotspot of the Western Ghats. Other important markets that feed into this include Nagpur, Sidhpur, Unja and Ahmedabad. The minor markets are located in Ratnagiri, Vashi and Pune, all in Maharashtra, where stakeholders engaged in supply chain are likewise cultivators from local hot or rural mandi or collection centers, local collectors engaged for collection of raw materials, or produce from cultivated source. Local collectors engaged for collection of raw materials, or produce from wild sources. One agency to whom State Forest Development Corporation has allotted or auctioned the forest area for collection of selected medicinal species from specified locations. In value chain process are Mandis means major, medium, and minor markets. Traders involved collecting of raw material from local collectors, at Mandi level and outside the Mandi too. Wholesalers engaged in the trade to supply the raw materials to various manufacturing industries, etc. Retail traders, or agencies who are collecting the required species from the traders or wholesalers. And primary processing or manufacturing units. Stakeholders have been engaged in trade of raw material of species from both cultivated and wild sources reached at the doorsteps of the manufacturing units in Western Agro-Climatic Zone. In Western Zone Survey, 46 species have found under supply and value chain process among interviewed stakeholders. It has been noticed that 331.120 metric ton of raw material reached at the doorsteps of manufacturing units. Out of this, contribution of cultivated species is 125.529 metric ton, representing 11 species, whereas the raw material of wild 42 species has been recorded to be 170.439 metric ton. Middlemen, traders and wholesalers are major players who have been engaged in buying and selling of collected raw materials from both the sources. The data of interviewed middlemen have indicated that they were buying the raw material of 46 species to the tune of 636.287 metric ton, and selling to other engaged stakeholders after cleaning, drying, sorting, grading and packaging as per the requirement of the industry. Similarly, wholesalers carry out the trade to the tune of 64,268.918 metric ton of raw material of 46 species. Generally, retail traders are purchasing the raw material from traders and wholesalers. Let us see the species-wise value chain of raw material in Maharashtra. Based on the demand, supply chain data of Neem indicates that manufacturing units buying 10 metric ton of dry leaves at 19 rupees to 30 per kilogram from reputed traders or wholesalers. Middlemen buy graded green leaves from farmer doorsteps at 19 rupees per kilogram and further sell to wholesaler at 25 rupees to 28 per kilogram. However, demand of Shank Pushpi whole at Maharashtra-based manufacturing units was recorded 6 metric ton per year with rate ranging from 40 rupees to 45 per kilogram. Terminalia bellerica and Terminalia cebula, fruit, found high trade entity that is 12.5 and 12 metric ton, respectively. Piper longum is cultivated by the farmers, and rate of roots offered by middleman was recorded at 517 rupees per kilogram, and at manufacturing unit it was noticed at 555 rupees to 580 per kilogram. In Gujarat, 19 species have found under trade or supply chain process by various market players. Plantago ovate or Isabgol, seed, is recorded as the top traded herbal raw drug entity 63,894 metric ton, followed by Cassia angustifolia or Senna, leaves 10 metric ton, whereas Azadirachta indica or neem, that is wild collected seeds, 24 metric ton, amongst stakeholders. In Rajasthan, middlemen buy seeds of Azadirachta indica or neem at 10 rupees to 14 per kilogram from wild collectors, and after packaging like removing of unwanted materials, they sell to traders at 22 rupees per kilogram, and manufacturing units purchase the same at 25 rupees per kilogram from traders. The demand of neem products are increasing day by day. Agriculture sector is now becoming a major consumer of the neem products, like neem oil, neem cake and neem-based pesticides. Being eco-friendly and a natural source of phytochemicals and nutrients, it is preferred to apply neem manure and pesticide in agriculture, especially in organic farming all over the country. Neem Foundation has been carrying out various activities, like field demonstrations, trainings, village meetings and poster pasting in the rural areas, for more than a decade to popularize the benefits of neem in agriculture, and convincing farmers to plant neem tree in their farmland. However, trade of cultivated Plantago ovata or Isabgol seeds was recorded to the tune of 47.45 metric ton per annum of the farmers. It has been noticed that middlemen buy seeds at 68 rupees to 70 per kilogram from farmers' field. After collection, seeds are cleared from unwanted materials, therefore, it incurred additional labor cost. It is packed in the airtight plastic-coated bags, in order to prevent it from the atmospheric humidity. After cleaning and packaging, local traders or middlemen supply packed material through transportation at Unja Mandi, which is located in Gujarat state, from where processors buy the raw material. At Unja Mandi, raw material is sold through auction process, therefore, rate varies from at 98 rupees to 100 rupees per kilogram. Currently, the farmer's share in the consumer rupee is very low, due to the high level of value addition done in the post-harvest value chain. The farmer's share is 106%, trader's share is around 103%, processors 206%, and retailers 160%. Major channels in the trade of medicinal plants and its supply chain chiefly consist of these players. There is a long chain between primary collectors and end users. Trade of medicinal plants and their various products can be viewed as an important commodity items for sustainable economic development of the country. To meet the domestic and international demands, it has now become imperative to produce the quality raw materials in significant quantities. Therefore, at least 25% of the total revenue generated from the sale of raw materials at various levels should be invested in local development and promotional activities. Establishment of area or district or state-level mandis and their networking necessary to streamline transparency in trade of medicinal plant species. This would support the market-driven cultivation. Due to non-availability of the local mandi, growers are bound to sell their produces to the local agents or collectors. The impact of the herbal products depends on quality. Therefore, quality management should be done at all stages, starting from the raw material through value chain to finished products. Hence, suitable mechanism needs to be developed to implement good agricultural practices, good collection practices, good manufacturing practices, and good laboratory practices. For doing this, funding support needs to be enhanced at least 3 times compared to existing one.